Stop buying rat poison. The 7 plants on your kitchen shelf already do the job, and they target a rat's nose better than any pellet on the market. An old gardener in my neighborhood has been running this exact perimeter for 40 years. She has never bought a snap trap. In the next 12 minutes, I'll show you the same layout which replaces a $100 exterminator visit with about $15 in starter plants. A rat has 1,200 types of scent receptors. You have 400. That nose is the weapon. These 7 plants are the ammunition. Here's the catch. Most people who plant them still have rats. A university rodent behavior study found out why. And the fix is in plant number 3. I'll get there at the 9-minute mark. 3 things, fast. Every plant with its active compound and the receptor it targets in a rat's nose. Exact placement. Plants per linear foot. USDA zone. And the honest part, 3 conditions that make all of this fail. Plus a safety warning about one plant the comments keep asking for that ASPCA documents as fatal to cats within hours. Just 7 plants, no traps, and absolutely no poison. No tools beyond what you would plant in a normal garden. Anyone can set this up in a single weekend. The first 4 plants are the fast hitters. Each one targets a different receptor in a rat's nose. Same broad mechanism, volatile organic compounds overwhelming the olfactory system, but 4 completely different chemical weapons. Plant 1. Peppermint, Mentha piperita. Active compound, menthol. Menthol activates the TRPM8 cold sensing channel on the rat's trigeminal nerve, simulating extreme cold across every scent receptor at once. Researchers publishing in Investigative Ophthalmology and Visual Science in 2012 found that high menthol concentrations trigger avoidance behavior in rodents. Placement. 1 plant every 12 to 18 inches, always in containers. Peppermint roots are invasive in open soil. Best spots: foundation strip, crawl space vents, entry doors. USDA Zone 3. Here's the catch with single compound peppermint. It has a day 7 expiration date. I'll show you the university data on that around the 9-minute mark. Plant 2. Lavender. Lavandula angustifolia. The compound is linalool. Linalool activates olfactory receptors that indirectly modulate GABA-A signaling in the nervous system, producing an avoidance response. A 2018 study in Frontiers in Behavioral Neuroscience confirmed this in mice, but only when inhaled. Placement. 1 plant every 18 to 24 inches in a continuous row. Full sun, at least 6 hours a day, south-facing fence or walkway. USDA Zone 5. For cat owners, lavender essential oil applied to fur is documented as toxic by ASPCA Animal Poison Control. Planted outdoors at perimeter distance in ambient air, generally low risk. A viewer in the Pacific Northwest reported lavender rows along her south fence kept rat trails away from her raised beds through 2 full seasons. The full pet protocol is in Part 3. Plant 3, Marigold, Tagetes species. Airborne limonene masks food odors. Here's why this one is on the list, even though the rat evidence is thin. Marigold protects your vegetable bed from insects and nematodes via alpha-terthionenyl root exudate, and it fills a border zone the other plants cannot cover. I'll be straight with you. Peer-reviewed evidence for planted marigolds specifically deterring rats is weak. Virginia Cooperative Extension reviewed the available data and found limited scientific support for rodent repellency. 1 plant per foot, vegetable bed border, full sun, annual, zone 2 and above. Even if it does not scare rats, it is doing real work underground. And coming up, I'll show you the one condition that makes every single plant on this list useless overnight. Plant 4. Wormwood. Artemisia absinthium. Dual mechanism. Thujone blocks GABA-A receptors, causing neuroexcitation and avoidance, and absinthin activates T2R bitter receptors, triggering a refuse-to-eat response. A 2020 toxicity study, published in the Journal of Toxicology Science, found test rats refused water at a 5% wormwood concentration. Placement: 1 plant every 24 to 36 inches, on your outermost property boundary or around compost. Keep it 3 feet from vegetables. Wormwood is allelopathic and suppresses neighboring plant growth. Zone 4. One grower using wormwood as a compost border noted rats stopped approaching the bin entirely within 2 weeks of planting a continuous row. Warning from ASPCA Animal Poison Control. Thujone is neurotoxic to dogs and cats if they chew the leaves. This is a perimeter plant, not a raised bed plant. Quick interrupt before plant 5. The most important sentence in this entire video. If you have a bird feeder, a dog food bowl outside, or unsealed trash near your yard, none of these 7 plants will work. The plants suppress scent. Food drive overrides scent every time. Remove the food source first, then plant the perimeter. The full breakdown of the 3 conditions that override everything is coming in Part 3. Now, Plant 5, the one that does what poison does to a rat's nose without the poison. Plant 5. Garlic. Allium sativum. The compound is diallyl disulfide, and the mechanism shifts here. This is not just an unpleasant smell. Diallyl disulfide activates TRPA1 and TRPV1 nociceptive channels, meaning it causes pain-equivalent signals in the nose, not merely discomfort. A 2005 study published in Current Biology found raw garlic activates these channels in both rats and mice, but baked garlic does not. The compound must be intact to work. Placement: 4 to 6 cloves per linear foot, interplanted in tomato and pepper rows. Avoid the bean family. Garlic stunts legumes. Zone 4. Here's why this one matters. A 50-cent head of garlic does the work of a $50 bucket of pellets. The math writes itself. Most critical safety note in this video. Garlic is seriously toxic to cats through thiosulfate-induced hemolytic anemia and accumulates over time in dogs. ASPCA Animal Poison Control classifies all allium as a high-risk toxin. Plant it away from pet zones. The next plant takes a completely different approach. Instead of pain, it overwhelms the detector entirely. Plant 6. Rosemary. Salvia rosmarinus. The compound 1,8-cineol, also called eucalyptol, causes olfactory fatigue. At sufficient concentration, it overwhelms the olfactory epithelium and disrupts the rat's ability to detect food or threats. Research published in the Journal of Pest Science found rosemary-based treatments reduced rodent presence by more than 60% for up to 7 days. One shrub every 24 to 36 inches, positioned along a south or west-facing foundation wall, ideally against brick or masonry that retains heat. Zone 7. If you are in a colder zone, grow it in a container and bring it in over winter. Safe for dogs and cats outdoors. In one case study, a homeowner with a south-facing brick foundation replaced 2 snap traps with a rosemary hedge and saw 0 trap triggers for 4 months. But which of these 7 holds up longest over time? The answer is coming, and it will change how you design the perimeter. Plant 7. Elderberry, Sambucus species. The mechanism, sambunagrin, is a cyanogenic glycoside that releases hydrogen cyanide when plant tissue is damaged, inhibiting cytochrome C oxidase, the enzyme at the center of cellular respiration. I will be direct with you. Peer-reviewed rodent-specific repellency data for elderberry does not currently exist. The evidence is anecdotal. And a gardener commented with exactly the right observation. Rats climb elderberry trees, so use it as your outermost boundary marker, not your active front line. One large shrub every 4 to 6 feet, moist soil, zone 3. Medium risk for pets if they chew young stems or leaves. After the full layout map, I'll show you the 3 conditions that can make this entire perimeter fail overnight. With all 7 in place, the layout works like this. Foundation strip, peppermint containers and lavender rose. Vegetable border, marigold edge, garlic interplanted in the rose. South wall, rosemary hedge. Outer boundary, wormwood at 3 feet minimum from the garden. Far corners and fence line, elderberry. That is a complete perimeter. You do not trap a rat. You make your property smell like a place it refuses to walk through. Think of it this way. Peppermint freezes the receptors, garlic burns them, rosemary blinds them, wormwood poisons the signal, elderberry marks the outer wall. 7 weapons, 7 different targets. Now you know all 7 and exactly where to place each one. But here is the part most plant list videos do not include. 3 conditions that, and if you have a cat, the next 60 seconds may be the most important thing in this video. Here is why some of you have all 7 plants and still have rats. 3 conditions override the perimeter entirely. First, the one I flagged earlier, bird feeders, outdoor pet food bowls, or unsealed trash. Biological survival drive overrides scent discomfort every time. A gardener who wrote in said it best: "The urge to reach food will almost always beat the discomfort of a localized smell." Remove the food source before you plant anything. Second, single compound planting. A Konkan University study published in CMU Journal of Natural Sciences in 2020 found that menthol alone lost all effectiveness by day 7 through habituation, but a multi-compound blend maintained effectiveness at day 7. You need at least 3 plants from different mechanism groups. Third, harborage within a foot of your foundation, a woodpile against the wall, thick leaf litter, dense shrubs under 12 inches. Remove the shelter. Plants reduce pressure. They do not replace sealing entry points and removing what draws rats in. The cat and dog question. It came up many times in the comments. Cats process essential oils 8 to 10 times slower than dogs because they lack a specific liver enzyme. ASPCA Animal Poison Control documents this. What it means in practice: concentrated lavender or peppermint oil applied to cat fur can cause toxicity. Planted outdoors at perimeter distance in ambient outdoor air, ASPCA considers this generally low risk. Wormwood is different. Thujone is neurotoxic to both cats and dogs if they chew the leaves. High risk for both. Garlic is a hard line for cats. Hemolytic anemia from thiosulfate exposure, even small amounts. ASPCA classifies all allium as serious. Quick reference: rosemary and marigold, safe for both outdoors. Peppermint and lavender planted outdoors, low risk. Wormwood and garlic, keep pet zones away from these plants. On other rodents. House mice. Same mechanism, but habituation to single compounds is even faster than in rats. Multi-plant blend is the fix. Same answer as before. On packrats in Arizona and the desert Southwest. This perimeter will not work. Packrats evolved duplicated CYP2B enzyme genes specifically to break down and consume terpene-based plants. Research published in PNAS in 2022 confirmed this. Packrats eat these plants as food. If you are dealing with packrats, you need a different strategy. On voles. The peer-reviewed data for this specific species does not exist yet. I will not give you confidence I cannot back up. And pennyroyal. Many viewers asked for it specifically. I left it out deliberately. Don't panic, but take this seriously. ASPCA has the case files. Pulegone makes up 75 to 85% of pennyroyal essential oil. It causes acute liver failure through a specific biological pathway. ASPCA Animal Poison Control has documented dogs lost within 30 hours of topical pennyroyal oil application used to treat fleas. That is not a plant for a bonus recommendation. If you see pennyroyal listed in a plant perimeter video without that toxicity data alongside it, the most important information is being omitted. Do not plant it near pets or children. The honest summary. A dense, multi-species perimeter meaningfully reduces rat pressure. It is one layer of a system, not a standalone fix. Seal entry points. Remove food sources. Then plant the perimeter, in that order. So which of the 7 gets stronger over time rather than weaker? None of them on its own. Peppermint alone, gone by day 7. But when you combine 3 or more plants from different receptor groups, menthol on TRPM8, garlic on TRPA1, rosemary on olfactory fatigue, the combination prevents habituation. Rats cannot adapt to all of them at once. That is compound protection that often maintains its effectiveness season after season. Plant the perimeter once. The plants do the patrol every night. 7 plants, 7 receptor targets, exact spacing per foot, exact spot in your yard. The chemistry behind each one, 3 conditions that override all of it. And the full pet safety protocol by species. That's it. Plant the perimeter. The plants do the patrol every night. One question for the comments. Are you team peppermint or team garlic for your first row? And if you want the rat-proofing step most gardeners skip, sealing entry points before you plant, the first link in the description below is exactly that. Happy gardening!